The year is 2019. Avengers. Endgame had just taken over the world, and only months later, Spider-Man. Far From Home dropped with a massive cliffhanger, Spider-Man's identity revealed to everyone. It felt like the beginning of something huge. The next chapter was set up perfectly, but then everything changed overnight. News suddenly broke that Spider-Man would no longer appear in future Marvel movies. He was being pulled out of the MCU completely and taken back by Sony Pictures. No one saw it coming, especially after how successful the partnership with Marvel Studios had been. To understand how this happened, you have to go back to 2015. That's when Marvel and Sony made a deal to reboot Spider-Man and introduce a new Peter Parker into the MCU. On paper, it looked like a collaboration, but in reality, Sony had the advantage. They kept full creative control over the films. They paid for production and marketing, but in return, they kept almost all the box office money. We're talking about an estimated 95% of the first dollar gross. For example, Spider-Man Homecoming made around $800 million worldwide, and Marvel only received a small cut. But Marvel wasn't losing, because they owned something even bigger: merchandising. While Sony made money from tickets, Marvel, through Disney, made billions selling Spider-Man products. Toys, clothes, games, collectibles, everything you can imagine. In fact, in 2017 alone, Spider-Man merchandise reportedly generated over $1.4 billion, so both sides were winning. Until they weren't. After the success of Far From Home, which crossed $1 billion, it was time to renegotiate the deal. And this is where everything broke. Marvel wanted more. Instead of taking a small percentage, they asked for a 50-50 split of future Spider-Man movie profits. From their perspective, it was fair. They helped rebuild Spider-Man's popularity. They integrated him into the Avengers. They made him a global icon again. But Sony didn't see it that way. Why would they give up half when they were already making massive profits? And there was another problem. Kevin Feige, the mastermind behind the MCU, might not even stay involved in future films. Marvel was shifting focus to Disney+, launching new characters, new shows, and expanding into X-Men and other franchises. So from Sony's perspective, they'd be paying more money while losing the creative leader who made Spider-Man work. That was a deal they weren't willing to accept. Negotiations went back and forth, but neither side backed down. Marvel pushed for 50%, Sony refused, and eventually the deal collapsed. In August 2019, it became official. Spider-Man was out. Removed from the MCU. Gone, and the consequences were insane. It meant future Marvel movies would have to act like Spider-Man never existed. No connection to Iron Man, no Avengers history. No shared universe. And on Sony's side, they couldn't reference anything from the MCU either. No mention of the blip, no past battles, no emotional continuity. It would have been like rebooting the character without actually rebooting him. Same actor, same face, but a completely disconnected story. Fans hated the idea. The internet exploded. People blamed Sony. Memes flooded social media. Even actors reacted publicly. Tom Holland himself was devastated. He reportedly believed it was over. At one point, he even called Disney CEO Bob Iger, emotionally thanking him and asking if anything could be done to fix it. For a moment, it truly felt like Spider-Man was gone for good. But behind the scenes, things weren't over. Pressure kept building, fans demanded answers, the backlash kept growing, and eventually both sides came back to the table. This time, the deal changed. Marvel backed down from 50%. Instead, they agreed to 25% they would help fund the films and still keep creative involvement. Sony would keep control and most of the profits. And just like that, the deal was saved. Spider-Man returned to the MCU, and what came next was even bigger. Because instead of a simple continuation, we got one of the biggest superhero movies ever made. A comeback that almost never happened. And when you look back at it now, it's crazy to realize how close we were to losing Spider-Man from Marvel forever. So the real question is, if that deal never happened, what would Spider-Man look like today? Would he still be this big, or would everything have fallen apart? Comment what you think. And if you want more stories like this, subscribe. Because some of the biggest moments in movies happen behind the scenes.